right, everybody. How we doing?
Oh, man. It's another week.
Well, Merry Christmas right off the top of the show. It's your boy MC and D-Mad with me here tonight. Zach is out doing the family thing tonight. We're going to hear from Zach in just a little bit, though. He's going to drop in here. We got a very special announcement that he's going to throw out to us. But before we get that, welcome everybody in. We're inside the Hawg Pen once again, the last time before Christmas. And as you can tell, I am about as in the spirit as one could be right now. I'm all glittery and everything.
Yeah, the background was definitely your idea.
Hey, if we're going to do it, man, let's go all in. So, that's just kind of my mindset with it. But so we got a lot to talk about tonight. We got football drama. We got Hog hoops. We're a week out. From today is the bowl game. Will we have a roster? Who knows?
Who knows?
Don't know, man. It's one of those deals of just is what it is, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So before we get too deep into the show, though, let's go ahead and bring our boy Zach in. Zach, you there?
Holy crap, what in the world are you wearing?
I pulled out all the Christmas swag tonight.
Dude, you never go full Christmas. Do you not know anything?
I even got I got my Santa hat and everything. All I'm missing is the elf ears, and then I'm good.
Are there lights blinking on that thing?
Oh yeah.
Let me take my camera off. Give Solo a shot here.
I don't know if I need one or not, but I kind of do. I kind of do. Hey,
speaking of nutcrackers,
real quick,
Arkansas sports here.
Yeah, right? No doubt. Yeah.
Special 2-hour appearance on Dave Ellswick tomorrow. 9 to 11 a.m. I'm telling you guys, if you're not paying attention to ITHP, the new era begins in 2 weeks. The new era begins in 2 weeks. But that's not the big announcement. This one's a little bit more personal. So, MC, D.
Yeah.
Hit that breaking news for me.
Let me talk to you.
All right, so as most of you know, and most of you may be aware, Casey Sutton and Mama Linda are our top two fans. They've been with us since day one. They are family to us. And as most of you know, Casey has been in a battle of her life, and I am proud to be able to be the one to announce it tonight. Number one, she's not only kicked cancer's ass once, she hasn't kicked it twice. She has kicked it a third time. She got a hold of me this week and said that she has officially we can make it a third time now that she has kicked cancer's ass. So all of us here at ITHP, I wanted to be the one to come on and say it, but all of us are proud, all of us are excited, and congratulations, Miss Casey, on whipping cancer's ass a third time. That shows you
that's
guys
awesome. Yeah.
How the resiliency and the strength of that, of people, and when they're fighting battles like this. But man, hey, that's a huge accomplishment, and we congratulations from all of us here at ITHP. We're very proud of you, and honored, Ms. Casey, for you to allow us to tell the world.
That's right.
Yeah, hey, no better way to start the show. Normally we save something big and positive for the end of the show, but we kind of felt like with this, man, we really needed to start the show off with this just to kind of set the tone for the night, because that's the best news that we could have had at any point during the show of anything that we could have ever talked about. This is going to take the cake on it.
You better believe it. But I've got to go run and do the family thing, but MC, I need that jacket. That's going in the Hall of Fame. That is going in the Hall of Fame if there ever was one. But I leave it in y'all's capable hands. If I don't see you guys, if I don't talk to you guys, y'all, everybody, all of our fans, all of our staff, have a very safe and Merry Christmas. And be sure to tune in. Keep tuning in to ITHP, because the new era begins January 3rd. You're not going to want to miss the big announcement coming up on our December 30th show. I just wrote that on MC, but yes.
Okay.
30th will be the big announcement.
That'll work. I'll put it in my phone right now.
Yeah, mark that on the calendar.
All right, boys. It's off and running. Y'all be good.
See you.
All right, enjoy, Zach. Appreciate you stopping by, giving us that news there, man. How about that? That's awesome. That is.
I kind of got to piggyback off of that. I'm sorry I didn't bring this up in pre-show. I've got a friend. I'm not going to say her name, but she's been in the fight of her life for a couple of years now, and it's literally becoming fight for her life. And if y'all believe in anything, and y'all want to send some thoughts and prayers towards her, it's going to be a big thing for me if something happens. And I'm getting emotional right now, but just keep her in your thoughts and prayers, because
Absolutely.
she is. It's not good.
Yeah.
We're hoping for what happened with Casey, but it's bad.
There you go.
Fight.
Hey, we've kind of set the tone there with Casey doing it for a third time, so there's nothing that says that it can't carry over to your friend as well. So
That's right.
If you're, like you said, man, if you're a believer and you believe in prayer, throw it up, man. Power of prayer. I've seen it many times. If you're a believer and that's your thing, if not, just send some good vibes their way, because they can always use it. So, all right, brother.
I got that off my chest.
You want to get into this football drama? I was trying to think of a really cute little, snarky subtitle to put down there, and I just instead of Days of Our Lives or Football of Our Lives or whatever, I decided to go with As the Football Turns, because
it's definitely not going to be Jingle Bells. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, this portal deal. I mean, last count I had, we were up to like 27, 28 guys in the portal. Now there have been some come in, and as of today, there were a couple of big pickups today on the offensive line where I felt like we needed to get a lot of help.
Yeah.
A solid offensive line can cover up a lot of warts. That can overpower, I guess is a good way to put it, some deficiencies on offense. And, to get those two guys on the offensive line today, one from Central Florida, one from Georgia Tech, that's two very welcome sights, especially after, we've had the departures we've had off the offensive line.
Power 5 starters too.
Yeah, that's huge to get some Power 5 starters, because I was getting pretty critical about the fact that the guys we were bringing in were Idaho and Fresno State and a lot of G5. I call it the G5.
About 5'9" receivers.
Yeah. So one of the guys, one of the receivers that brought in, I think it's the kid from Fresno. He's about 5'8", 5'9". So, it's kind of hard to get excited about that when you see what some of these other schools are doing. But, I'll give credit where credit's due, man. Today was a good day.
Push back on the height thing, because we remember a guy going for TCU. He's currently playing for the Dallas Cowboys, Kavontae Turpin.
There's always an exception to the rule. There's a Julian Edelman out there every once in a while. And
that's right.
It's just, I don't know, man. Yeah. I'm pretty jaded right now, so it's going to take something, a really wow moment. Now, if, we've seen all the rumors and everything, and our boy Matt Hard over at Hawg HQ is talking about, hey, keep your eye on Courtney Crutchfield. Well, Courtney Crutchfield goes into the portal today, and about 10 minutes before we come onto the show, I see he's got a crystal ball projecting him to come back to Arkansas. So now that would be a big get in my book.
Yeah, no kidding. Former 4-star, played some. I don't know how much time he actually got in Missouri, but he was a bona fide 4-star. Eli did as much as he could to get him to come up to the Great North.
Yeah, and that was one that kind of hurt when he left, because that was a position I felt like Arkansas could have used right off the bat. He would have got in and got some playing time. I'll have to look his stats up at Missouri, because I don't know that he played a whole lot.
It felt like a sign of things to come with Sam whenever he went to Missouri. It just kind of felt like it was a bad omen. But I don't care if he left for Missouri his first year and came back. If he's going to be a producer like his potential says, I'm going to be right there supporting him, right behind him.
Well, and I think, with what Andrew Armstrong was able to do this year, I think that's catching the eyes of a lot of wide receiver prospects. Yeah. And, they feel like that they can come here and put up some big numbers in a Petrino offense. And it just comes down to a matter of, okay, are we going to make a respectable offer? Because I think if we make a respectable offer on the NIL front, combine that with the potential for what these guys can do in the offense, I think it's enough to get some of these guys to sign. So we'll see what continues to happen. The portal is open until the day after the Liberty Bowl. So I think the 28th, I believe, is the last day of the portal. So I'm kind of wondering if you're going to see some more guys maybe hit the portal that night after the Liberty Bowl, or maybe that next morning before the gate closes.
And another thing to remember with the portal, the reason why it's opening now and people are jumping in like head first right this second is because like with the spring semester enrolled, if you go into the portal after spring practice, then you've literally just wasted a semester of your life, because then you automatically get out of school and you're having to sit around for the next 3-4 months to get to the summer workouts and enrolling at the new school. So you've just wasted effectively 3 months, and now you're having to play catch up because you just missed an entire spring practice too with your new team. So that's why there's so much portal activity going on right now. But we'll probably see a little bit less later.
Yeah, and I understand, the why the clock is set up the way it is, but it kind of feels like that they didn't think this all the way through in regards to.
Crutchfield didn't have any stats last year, by the way.
Okay, all right, so he didn't play. To me, it feels like with the portal going on right now, as some of these teams are getting ready for the playoffs. That's wild, because you do have some guys from playoff teams that are choosing to hit the portal rather than preparing to go to the playoff and chase a national championship, which to me is just it's insane to think about.
I had to calm myself down because I almost said a wordy dirt. I'm trying to clean myself up for the next year, if you know what I'm talking about, MC. Yeah. That is, to quote Stephen A. Smith, blasphemy.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you're wasting literally good film that you can put on tape for an NFL team or your next team. Like, what's the problem? You're competing for a national championship. Isn't that the whole goal of college football? No, never mind. It's not anymore. I'm sorry.
It was, but I made a tweet the other day, throwing it out there, when all this was going on and Ole Miss was just handing out money like it's candy canes at Christmas.
I hope his knee is feeling better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I will just leave that alone. I'm not, I'm staying in the Christmas spirit. I'm not going to bah humbug on anybody. But, do these guys even care about winning now? If you've got guys leaving Georgia and SMU and Notre Dame and Penn State and all these other playoff teams, do they care about anything other than securing a bag?
No.
That's me. Yeah.
Here's the thing. And it's the agent's fault. Let's be honest here. It's all agents' faults, because nobody is teaching these kids the difference between the short-term money and the long-term money.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest things that you could learn. Sorry, I'm about to get on my podium.
No, dude, I'm with you. I am 100% with you. I've always been, when I played sports, I was always the team first guy. I didn't really care about my personal stats as long as we won the game. And maybe that's that's part of the reason why I was never the man. The other reason being I didn't have a whole lot of athletic ability. But, my mindset was, if we get the win, I'm good. That was all I was concerned with.
MC, did they define you as scrappy?
I was called scrappy.
Sneaky athlete.
Sneaky. I was called a midget Bill Lambier.
Oh, good Lord.
Because what I was supposed to do was, I usually ended up guarding the other team's best player in basketball, and my job was to frustrate him to the point where he wanted to fight me rather than score on me. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
That's a good position. But to kind of get back on track, what I was about to say, I'm sorry. No, like the short term and the long term, like DJ Williams is a really good example of this. I mean, he went to the pros. I mean, I don't know how long he was on a roster, but I mean, he was on a roster for years.
Right.
And he comes back to Arkansas, and he's built up relationships with a lot of people inside the state, and is able to make a positive impact on, was it KATV or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's a personality for KATV. He's built a life here. And I'm not saying he's making a ton of money, but I'm sure he's making more than I am. But that's the thing. Is like he's made the connections while he's been at one school for 4 to 5 years, and he was able to make a connection to set himself up for post football, because not every. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 95% of these players in the portal are going to be professionals in something other than football.
Yes.
And so with them all just jumping around, going from place to place, being told they're the greatest ever, let me give you a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. It's not teaching you anything going forward. And I'm a 30-year-old understanding this, but it's I understand like going and getting money, but college shouldn't just be about money. You're supposed to be learning life lessons there too.
Well, and I think a lot of the life lessons that are taught by sports, one of the big ones is how do you handle adversity? Mm-hmm. And a lot of these guys are running from adversity instead of facing it and overcoming it. You know, they're taking the easy way out and hitting the portal and going somewhere to where maybe there's not any adversity or there's a lot less. And I don't know, man. I think we're setting these kids up for failure once their playing days are over. And like you said, they're going pro in something other than sports. You know, they're not gonna know how to handle a tough boss, because right now, if they get coached tough and a kid gets yelled at,
do not get me started on that. Right
I know, brother. I know. I mean, I see it. I see it daily in my job too. But you see where I'm going with that. I mean, they don't have, you know, we'll say the mental strength or maybe the intestinal fortitude to handle a butt chewing, you know?
Yep. And it's like that player from, I think it was Texas Tech, that said he wants $700,000 up minimum up front, and then he wants 3 separate cars for family members, a personal driver for every
for practice,
from practice through end of the season. Like, dude, you had 8 catches last year.
Yeah.
And that's not something that's been confirmed. I get it. Let's all be honest here.
Yeah. And I understand, you know, I understand the whole art of the deal, so to speak, and you ask for more than what is realistic with the hopes that when they counter offer back, it's going to be what you wanted to start with. But I mean, you're talking, like you said, man, you're talking about a guy had 8 catches on the year and he's wanting $700,000. Are you kidding me? I mean, you know, and maybe that's why some of these guys left and went to, you know, the school down at Oxford, because they were offered way above market value. You know, I was talking with someone the other day. I said it kind of feels like that maybe some of these players and their quote unquote market value is more inflated than the real estate market is right now.
Oh boy, you said something there. And let's be honest here. I'm gonna say his name. Luke has not proven to be a 4-star player at Arkansas.
No, he was off to a good start as a freshman, and then he got injured. He was done for the year.
That's it.
And then, you know, can't blame him on that. No. But then this year, you know, I don't know if he was held in to block because the offensive line was so bad, or, you know, I don't know why he didn't get the ball. I don't know. But, you know, I don't know. I was shocked at that one. You know, maybe he wanted more money than what he was being given. And, you know, and so let me ask you this. While we're talking about some of those guys that decided to go south and end up at the same spot,
weirdly enough,
what happens down there next year if they go 8-4, 9-3 again?
I'm guessing that they're going to stay there and continue to get paid because that's the only team that's willing to pay everybody. Because if you're losing players at Alabama, my dude,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
saying that Real Tree or whatever company,
Mossy
Mossy Oak, same thing.
Yeah.
But I guess he's got more money than God, and he's just doing what I would do as a billionaire and just pouring every single dollar I have into a program that I love. Jerry Jones.
Well, but if you think about it, okay, that school. I'm trying not to say their name, but that school is known for law school. A lot of lawyers. You've got the Mossy Oak guy. I mean, you've got that family that has the last name of Manning. I mean, there's some money down there, man.
There's also some chants that they have that are very problematic too, that nobody seems to ever remember.
Right.
Whatever.
But I mean, there's money down there, and if that, if those people decide to, dadgummit, we want to win. And we're willing to do whatever. I mean, who better to have to funnel all this money than a bunch of lawyers, because they know exactly how far the rules can be bent before something's going to be thrown their way,
It's kind of like with Jim Harbaugh whenever he was going all the way up to crossing the line and stopping.
Yeah.
I'm going to start having satellite camps in Miami, Florida. Y'all come stop me.
Well, and the way the NCAA is right now, I mean, they're we've said it before on here, they're essentially neutered. There's not a whole lot they can do because they just lost yet another lawsuit in regards to a player and his eligibility and his ability to make NIL. And we're talking about the lawsuit from the quarterback at Vanderbilt who sued the NCAA for another year of eligibility because he's saying that his year that he spent at JUCO should not count against him. The court ruled in his favor.
Off topic, sorry. I just kind of remember just going towards the JUCO thing, like your clock. That's what it's called. Is a clock.
Yeah.
Is it starts when you play your first game of college, not JUCO, like your actual 4-year university.
Right.
And so, did they start his clock when he was at JUCO, or did he start in a 4-year university and then go JUCO?
I think, and I'm not for sure on this, but I think he started at a 4-year, went to JUCO, then come back up to, I believe it was New Mexico, and then he transferred from New Mexico over to Vanderbilt.
Gotcha.
But the NCAA has now been told by a federal court that your clock, even if you play both years of JUCO ball, you still have 4 years to play at the NCAA level after your JUCO days are over. So 6 years could become extremely common, where originally 6 years was unheard of. I remember several years back when Madre Hill got eligibility for a 6th year because he missed 2 full seasons with ACL surgeries.
Seemed like Steven Garcia was at South Carolina for 8.
Yeah, well, Cam Rising, he's been granted yet another year at Utah. I'm beginning to think, I think that dude was in high school with DMAC. I mean, I did see a graphic the other day that he is the same age as Trevor Lawrence, who played with Clemson and has now been in the pros for 2 to 3 years at Jacksonville.
He was born in 1999. How many players from 1999 do you think are in college football right now?
I mean, there maybe him and that. There was that one guy at Miami that was on his 9th year. He was like a tight end or something.
Alan Bowman's getting like his 8th year too.
Yeah. He's. I mean, and I don't blame these guys for doing this, because the guys that are doing this, the Diego guy at Vanderbilt, Alan Bowman, the tight end at Miami, these dudes are making money right now, and they're not going to get drafted. They're not. If they play any kind of pro ball, they might play CFL in Canada, but they're going to make more money now in NIL than they will in their pro career. So why would they not want to stick around? I get it, but I mean, we're talking about a system that is broken, because it's become a semi-professional league now.
How much would you give for that Brett Bielema year, where he had Denver Kirkland and whole offensive line to have like 7 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
That team would have been disgusting.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Denver Kirkland, Dan Skipper,
Tritola.
There was who was
it wasn't Ragnall was the center, was he?
Yeah, Ragnall was on that team too. I mean, you're talking about a Remington Award-winning center. Mm-hmm. I mean, imagine you get those guys for
4 to 5 years.
5 years. I mean, it's just unreal. And I don't know who's gonna put some parameters around it, because it's obvious the NCAA no longer has any authority of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go with the full NFL model,
caps.
And have salary caps, have penalties for tampering. You go the full NFL model. You set it up as a league, and then you have a commissioner.
Agents cannot talk to other teams about their players as long as they're not in the transfer portal. Yep. Also, I think something that would enormously lower the transfer portal, which would be a good thing. If you think the transfer portal is not is a bad thing, you're mistaken, because it's affecting everyone.
It is.
But
yeah,
they need to reenact that 1 year sit out period. And there's got to be no exceptions. Sorry, Bucko, it's your choice. You can sit out if you want to. You better make your decision on where you're going. Very good.
Yep, I agree, man. I agree, and something's got to happen. But until there is an authoritative body that actually has,
would there have to be a collective bargaining at that point to actually get something done?
I mean, I think eventually it's going to have to go that way. You're going to have to go the full Monty, man. You're going to go players union and collective bargaining and, everything else that goes along with the NFL model.
I've never been an NCAA person, but I've never seen the NCAA go up lawsuit against lawsuit and lose. And it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, the parents are no longer able to parent. Like, it is just all anarchy out here at this point. Yeah. So we've got to get to a point where rules have got to be laid down. I mean, there's already guidelines right now, but I mean, nobody's there to enforce it. There's got to be an enforcement on these rules, and the chaos is not helping the sport. You can go ask anybody in the world that pays attention to college football. If you ask them, do you think the transfer portal is good? There's only one team that's going to say, yes, it's a good thing. And guess what? They're in the state of Mississippi. That's the only team that's going to say, yes, the transfer portal is good. I'm slowly getting closer and closer to Dabo Swinney saying the transfer portal is stupid.
Well, and I mean, you look at some of the coaches who have stepped down. Obviously, Saban stepped down. Mac Brown was fired, but I think he was getting close to just throwing his hands up and saying the heck with it anyway. And you flip over to basketball, Roy Williams stepped down. The guy at Villanova, Jay Wright, Krzyzewski. All of these guys that are legends.
If you think about it, besides Dan Hurley, because he's early in his career, there's only 2 Hall of Fame coaches in college basketball, right? Okay, 3. Rick Pitino's in there, but he's not coaching for a big team. You got 3 Hall of Fame coaches in college basketball. You got Rick Pitino, you've got Tom Izzo, and you've got
Cal.
Is that who the third one is?
I think it is. I think it's our boy Cal.
I think it's Cal, isn't it? Oh, weird.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk more about him in the show. But to kind of put a bow on this portal madness talk before we head to break, I think eventually, man, you're gonna see, and we've talked about this before too. You're gonna see the Big Four conferences break away. They're gonna get out from underneath the NCAA, at least in football, and kind of do their own thing. And then I think at that point, you're going to see more of the elements of the NFL brought into the structure of it, as far as, free agency is this window to this window. You have, these are the penalties for tampering, and you set it up with a commissioner. And to me, right now, there's one guy out there that should be the commissioner when that happens.
You're talking about Hunter Yurachek, right?
No. He may be a lot of things, but he's not my choice here. I think you put Saban over it, man. I really do.
I know we were about to transition, but I just had to pull up this comment from Loki. If there was collective bargaining, that would mean that the players could go on strike. That's a very, very good point.
That's an excellent point by Loki that I hadn't thought about. But it could happen. But I think we are headed for, we've seen it for years, the way, implementing the 2-minute timeout, and not the 2-minute warning. Let's not call it that. Let's call it the 2-minute timeout. And then some of the other rule changes that they have made to mimic the pro game. If you're going to do all the mimicking of the pro game on the field, then you're going to have to implement some of the structure and some of the guidelines that are off the field for the same reasoning. But I don't know, man. It's going to be it's wild. It's all over the place. There's chaos, and we'll see where it ends up. But D-Man, I'll tell you what, man. Let's go ahead and step aside for a break. We come back. We're going to jump into the School of Hog Hoops and talk some Razorback basketball. Big win last weekend. They did exactly what they were supposed to do against UCA. We'll get into all that and more when we come back on Inside the Hawg Pen. Meeks Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Meeks Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Meeks Design.
Hey, Hawg Fanatics. We at Inside the Hawg Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share that SeatGeek is a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not so good deal. As a special offer, Hawg Fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code Inside Hawg Pen. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code Inside Hawg Pen.
Yeah!
It's time to step back inside the Hawg Pen to the Meeks Design Studios.
All right, back here inside the very holiday Hawg Pen. It's your boy MC and D-Mad here. Man, all right, let's just jump into it, man. Let's just get into hog hoops, because this is where my heart is right now. I'm all in. It's like the intro says, man. That river of Kool-Aid just continues to grow.
You want me to run the video?
Yeah, man, run the video.
All right.
You're muted, MC. So excited.
I'm so damn excited. I forgot to unmute my mic. I have a river of Kool-Aid for basketball.
Yeah!
Oh man, that seeing that slobbering hog, man, that never gets old. It's beautiful seeing it right there where it's supposed to be. So, all right, I didn't get to talk about the Michigan game last week because I was out. I had some stuff going on. Wasn't able to be here, but I got to recap just a little bit of how big that win was on multiple levels. That was a quad one win for the Hogs, their first quad one win of the year. Anytime you get to go to Madison Square Garden and play, it's a big deal. But you go there and you win, I mean, it's huge, man. Eyes everywhere on that game. Boogie Fland had felt like his entire, everybody from his high school there, 150 people there in his entourage there to watch him play.
Was there that many?
Yeah, I heard the morning show, Chuck and Bo, they were talking about that. Chuck said that he knew he had at least 100, and he thought there were more than that there. Between family and friends and former coach and former teammates and everything. And it was, it's a big homecoming for Boogie. So to see him put up 20 points and 5 or 6 assists, man, it's just, I mean, that dude is so good. Y'all, we got to enjoy him while he's here because
that's the truth. He's going to be,
he's going to be a lottery pick, man. If he continues to put up the numbers he's putting up, he's going to be a lottery pick.
He's a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type.
Yeah, very much so.
He can get to pretty much anywhere on the court that he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just right now, it just depends if his shot is falling. Against Michigan, just because we're wanting to go back to that.
Yeah.
We shot 39% from the 3-point land, which it's pretty good for how we've been shooting for the entire year.
Very much so. Yeah.
Here's the killer. We shot 50% from the field.
Yeah, and won by 2. Yeah. I mean, that game, you know what? Michigan and Michigan dropped another heartbreaker last night to another SEC team. They lost to Oklahoma last night in a similar fashion to the way they lost to Arkansas. I mean, they missed a shot at the buzzer that I think it would have been a game winner this time instead of tying it up. But man, we got to talk about the SEC for a minute. The SEC is just ridiculous this year. I mean, I've been following SEC ball for a long time, and I have never seen SEC basketball as deep as it is right now. I mean, it's insane. There was a tweet put out by the SEC official Twitter, and it was talking about in the month of December, SEC teams are 50-4.
It's incredible.
I mean, it's just unreal.
Let me pull this up, MC.
Yeah, bring it.
Joe Lunardi's bracketology right now.
Mm-hmm.
This was posted on December 18th. Right now, the big number right there, multi-bid conferences.
Yeah.
The SEC leads the way with 13, and Big Ten is slightly behind them. And Big Ten's usually been the basketball conference.
Yeah.
Them and the ACC. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to see. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Like, I can't even tell if they have Arkansas listed in here. That's the craziest part.
I mean, I have seen some other bracketologies where Arkansas is anywhere from a 6 to a 9 seed.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think that's probably pretty accurate unless this team just goes on an insane tear, which is possible. It's possible. But the SEC, I mean, Cal mentioned this in one of the post games the other day. He said, these guys are telling me now that basketball in the SEC has become like baseball in that there are absolutely no nights off. You can't look at anybody and say, okay, we got that one. And that's pretty much the way it is in baseball. And I think he's spot on this year with basketball because, when you're projected to have 13 of your 16 teams in the dance, I mean, what happens if one of those other 3 teams hits a roll in the SEC tournament and takes the automatic bid? Then you're at 14.
What are the other 3 teams?
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest question. Like, the other 3 teams are, like, Georgia, Florida.
I mean, Florida's in the top 10 right now. I mean,
they're in the top 10?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And they beat North Carolina. Let's see.
They're number Thursday. 2 seed, according to Joe Lunardi.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I mean, LSU, Mississippi State, and maybe Vanderbilt are the 3 that I would say are struggling right now. But
they got Mississippi State in the tournament right now.
Okay, well then that takes that one off. I don't know, man, because even Vanderbilt Georgia has, I mean, Georgia has pulled a couple of big wins early in the year here too, and it's just going to be. It is going to be a monster, and it's going to be a bloodbath when we get into SEC play. I mean, and Arkansas jumps in it right off the top, man. They jump in. The first SEC game they have is going to number 1 Tennessee.
MC, be ready to put it up, bro.
Okay, all right.
Whenever Cal got hired, I said 25 wins the first year, top 5 in the SEC.
Okay. I'll take it, man. Hey,
second round exit. That's what I said. But it is
you know what? And this year, I'll take that. I will. You know, now that's not saying I'm not going to pout and stomp around a little bit when they do get beat, because that's going to happen no matter what. But if they get to the, you know, if they can get past the first round, if for no other reason than just to piss Kentucky fans off, because they're always talking, you know, they're all talking about, you know, oh, you can't get out of the first round, can't get out of the first round. Well, if he comes here, gets out of the first round, I'll take that this year.
Well, he's not going to win the big one. That's going to be the next one.
Yeah, that'll be, yeah. I mean, they're more concerned with Arkansas right now than they are their own team. And as much as I hate to admit it, man, they've got a pretty stinking good team too.
They do. They got a scary team. You know what's crazy is they're being paraded for their 3-point shooting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their 3-point shooting is, I think, 1% better than Arkansas's.
Yeah. And we've been told all year, oh, Arkansas can't shoot. Arkansas can't shoot. But
and it's true, because Calipari likes to get to the bucket. He doesn't like to shoot threes as much.
Yeah.
He's playing an offense instead of just sit behind a 3-point line like, never mind.
Well, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of what this offense can be now that you've got Jonas Adu back in the middle. You know, he's already making a big difference.
You can tell he's starting to get his legs under him a little bit more.
Absolutely. The more he finds his legs, the better off he's going to be. I mean, he's played major impact in the Michigan game already. And having him, I'll tell you what I liked. I liked having him and Brazil on the floor at the same time. Because there is so much length and athleticism there. I mean, you talk about rim protection. Those two guys, and Brazil showed it. I mean, he blocked a shot that would have, I think it would have given Michigan a 1-point lead there late in the game. And
that was after he missed his 2 free throws.
Yeah, he missed his 2 free throws. He goes down and makes up for it immediately, and then comes back and makes 1 of 2. Now, you know, again, y'all know me. Y'all know I can get on a tangent about free throw shooting. You know, free throws and turnovers. That's the 2 things that will win and lose a ton of games for you. And it seems like, you know, Arkansas is starting to get the turnover thing under control. The more these guys play together, you know, of course, you know, we've heard Cal talk about how they couldn't scrimmage, they couldn't do anything because of injuries, and it showed. And now you're starting to see them find a little bit of rhythm. I love the fact that against UCA, they come out and did what they needed to do. They started fast, they built a big lead, they didn't blow it, you know, and just ended up winning by 20, 25, whatever it was supposed to be, you know, and took care of business.
I got to pull the Zach card here. But MC, you're supposed to win those games.
You are. You're supposed to. And they did what they were supposed to do. You know, earlier in the year, I mean, we've seen it with some of these other lower level teams that they've struggled at times with. And it's taken a late game run to put some distance between them and, oh gosh, who was the team that had like all the shooters?
Was it UTSA?
May have been. I don't remember now, but
no, you're talking about Illinois, where we got absolutely.
Well, no, I was talking about one of the G5 teams that played close that wasn't supposed to.
Let me find that.
And I think we ended up winning by like 9 or 10, but they shot like 65% from 3-point range.
I had it pulled up. Give me just a second here.
You know, Illinois. You mentioned that Illinois game. I want to touch on that for a minute, because Illinois is a team that I think will compete for the Big Ten this year. I think they just lost to Tennessee on a buzzer beater at Illinois. I mean, Tennessee. I don't know what Illinois' mindset was there, but they let a guy from Tennessee literally drive the length of the entire floor, shoot a layup as time expired, and that's what beat them. But anyway, it is what it is. So,
I think it was Pacific. I lost something. Sorry, I had something in the holster and I lost it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. It happens to me all the time, man. You know, the next game up, they have a game this Saturday. I think it's North Carolina A&T, I believe.
Yes, sir.
This Saturday at 1:30, SEC Network, and then they don't play again until the 30th. And I think that's Oakland, the team that ended Cal's career at Kentucky.
I wonder if they're gonna be ready for that game.
I think Cal may have a little extra juice for that one.
Yeah. I found my holster here.
Okay.
So if you've watched the entire season so far, you've noticed that every single game has a different feel to it for our offense.
100%. Yes.
Like you've had Adu be the star more than anybody, honestly. You've had Boogie be the star. You've had DJ Wagner come out and be the star.
Yeah.
It's like this. And don't let me forget about Z. But everybody's and John L. Davis has had his game too.
Yeah.
Like everybody's came out and just like performed on their own type of night. And it's not that they're performing now by themselves. That just shows that this team is very, very talented. And they're trying to figure out a way to come together with all the talent and be like, okay, if we need to get a bucket, we need to feel out who's the hot hand today, and we're going to feed them the ball. And that's going to what comes down to in February to March, us figuring each other out and figuring out what's the best course of action, because this team is very talented and very deep.
Yeah, and to talk about the fact that this team is deep is almost comical compared to where we started the year, because we started the year with 7 guys healthy. And then now we've got Adu back, we've got Brazil back, and you're up to 9 guys that are playing a lot of minutes now. Adu Thero has just hit a different gear so far this year. Now the Michigan game, he had the flu or whatever, and then he didn't even see the court against UCA, and I'm fine with that, man. Let him rest, let him get healthy, because I would much rather have him for that Tennessee game in early January than to have him play against UCA and play, 15, 20 minutes and have 15 or 20 points. Let's get everybody well, healthy, rested, and get ready for that gauntlet that is going to be SEC play, because it is going to be ridiculous.
So let me ask you this. Adu Thero and Brazil have very similar games, would you say?
Yes, I would say so.
So what is stopping Brazil from being Adu? I'm going to answer that question, but I think it's being more well-rounded. I think Adu is kind of understanding what his role is, and I think Brazil needs to kind of start figuring that out, because I feel like Cal has been putting Brazil into that role that Adu's been putting into. Mm-hmm. He's kind of like a second Thero. He's like a second Adu off the bench.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Brazil needs to start shadowing Thero a couple more days. Or Jesus, I can't talk today. Sorry, it's been a long day. Brazil needs to start shadowing Adu Thero, because they're playing a very similar game and they're hardly ever on the court at the same time. And so if he starts shadowing him, it probably would make it. I can't talk. I don't know what I'm going for.
I think I see where you're going with that, and I agree. They do have a lot of similarities in their skill sets. I think you hit the nail on the head. Thero has figured out his role, and if he can get to the basket or his shots are falling, he understands that they're going to feed him the ball. Boogie and DJ are going to feed him the ball as long as he's still scoring. Thero is a little stronger, I feel like. I feel like he's got a little more. I mean, you can tell by looking at him, man. He's pretty cut. And Brazil has the body of a Todd Day. He's kind of a toothpick, I mean, in all honesty. And I mean, that's no knock on his athleticism or his game at all. He's just not a power kind of guy. He's a finesse kind of guy. Now, to say he's finesse and then you see some of the dunks he has, you're kind of saying, all right, MC, you're a little off there. But
it's kind of saying jumbo shrimp. It's kind of an oxymoron.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But his game is more facing the basket. He is not a guy who you're going to give the ball to on the block and he's going to spin and make a power move like Jonas Adu does. Thero, I think, can do that. If he has a mismatch, he can take his guy to the post him up, and he's either going to get fouled or score or both. But I think Brazil is still kind of trying to figure out his role. He played his role well at Michigan, but I think he's the kind of guy that, depending on how the game's going, he's the one guy whose role is going to change. Okay. DJ's role is always going to be the same. Boogie's role is always going to be the same. Jonas Adu is always going to be the same. But then Thero and Brazil, one thing they do have in common is that depending on how the game is going, those guys, one game Theo may be focused in on scoring. The next game, his focus may be defending and rebounding. And I think you could say the same thing for Brazil. Brazil is not going to be put in the role of having to be the guy this year. And I think that's what hurt him a little bit last year, is because he was, first off, he wasn't completely over his knee injury. I think he was still having some mental setbacks there, because the middle part of an injury, like a knee injury, is tougher to get over with than the physical part of it. And he was being relied on to carry the team to have 17, 18 points a game. And he wasn't, I don't think he's that guy. I think he's a guy that is going to give you anywhere from 8 to 12 points and 8 to 12 rebounds per game. I think that's his role. That's just me looking at, what he's done. He still has not found the groove that he had 2 years ago in Maui, when he just kind of burst onto the scene and was dominating those games in Maui. We've not seen that since. Yeah. And I don't know if that was a fluke or what, but
I think the Maui, whenever he tore his ACL, I think that year he was going in, him and Nick Smith Jr. were going to be the focal point of that offense.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
And ever since then, it's just been something here and something there. And he's still uncomfortable, it looks like.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't play for John Calipari unless you have a chance of going to the NBA. Let's call it what it is.
Yes.
And he is extremely talented. He is a slightly leaner Anthony Davis and slightly less tall, but I
can see that.
The way he plays, if he would just embrace the physicality of the game, he could be a top overall pick, a lottery pick.
Yeah, the potential's there. Yeah,
he's got to embrace that. And what do I think that he would do to embrace that more is one more year.
I'll take it, man. If he wants to come back for one more year, I think he would be welcome back too, because of what he does bring to the table. So,
yeah.
All right, man. I've rattled way too long here in the School of Hog Hoop, so I'm gonna have to put a bow on this. Saturday, 1:30, North Carolina A&T, and then they get Christmas break. They go to the 30th, and they'll play Oakland, and then we hit SEC play, man, and we don't look back from there. So these last two games, let's get the rest of the kinks worked out. Let's get a couple big blowout wins so we can work on some things that normally we wouldn't work on in the game, and just get ready for that gauntlet.
Yeah, man. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said except for this team just needs a little bit of time. And like I think his Mama Linda's in the comments saying, quit fouling on the 3-point line.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was ready to throw something through my TV during that UCA game because they just kept fouling dudes on the 3-pointers. And you can't do that.
It just seems like, to Mama Linda's point, they're not anticipating a pass to the 3-point line, and they're still having to learn a little bit. And that's kind of what needs to be worked on, is anticipating the 3-point shot. If they can get a dribble off of that shot, is the likeliness of it going, or a catch and shoot 3 is more likely to go in than a shot off the dribble. So just even one 100%. Dribble will affect a 3-point shot more than you'd ever know.
Yeah. And I heard Joe Klein was on the call for that game, and he made a really good statement about why they kept running into the 3-point shooter. He said, when you go to defend a 3 and you jump, you want to high jump. You don't want a long jump. And they were long jumping. And so when they would land off of their long jump, they were landing right into the shooter. And kudos to those shooters for standing there knowing that it's coming. But if you high jump rather than long jump, you try to get your hand up, you try to get it at the peak of, as they're releasing the ball is where you want to be at the peak of your jump. You try to go high. You don't try to jump at them. That's the mistake they were making for the most part, was jumping at the shooters. So I'm sure Cal and Coleman and the coaching staff will get that corrected. Matter of fact, I expect we'll see a different take on how they defend the 3 as early as Saturday in the game against North Carolina A&T. So that's going to put a bow on the last School of Hog Hoops. I'll get it right in a second, before Christmas. So we're going to step aside for a quick break. We're going to come back and do everybody's favorite segment, Hawg Tuah, and maybe talk a little bit about maybe what we want Santa to bring us as Hog fans. So stick around. We got one more segment to go here on Inside the Hawg Pen. Meeks Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Meeks Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Meeks Design.
Hey, Hawg Fanatics. We at Inside the Hawg Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share that SeatGeek is a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not so good deal. As a special offer, Hawg Fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code Inside Hawg Pen. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code Inside Hawg Pen.
Yeah!
It's time to step back inside the Hawg Pen to the Meeks Design Studios.
All right. Just about ready to wrap things up tonight on this episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. D-Mad, man, I thank you so much for coming in and stepping in for Zach. It is certainly a lot easier and a lot more entertaining to do this when you have somebody for some back and forth instead of being there by yourself and, feel like that you're talking to the little voices in your head. So,
man, I understand that completely. I had a failed show that I talked to myself and I about drove myself crazy and my wife crazy. But you want to kick this thing into Hawg? We might have to rename this segment. Have you heard the last about the Hawg Tuah girl?
Yeah, man, she's kind of gone MIA.
She released a little meme coin and said, "Hey, I got my money. See y'all later."
Cost everybody a bunch of money, and then she jumped into the Bermuda Triangle, man.
If you're stupid enough to give that girl money,
I mean, do you not kind of get what you deserve what you get?
Let's run the intro real quick.
All right. You just got to spit on that thing. So
I know you did not just. Oh my God.
All right.
Oh Lord,
man, we could get off in the weeds real quick, and I thought me and Zach were bad about getting off in the weeds, but oh boy,
I can talk about stupid tax all day, every day.
Oh yeah, 100%. All right, man. So let's jump on into this real quick. We'll get back to the front here. Casey Sutton, she says, "Thanks, guys. And if you missed our big announcement at the beginning of the show in regards to Casey, Zach came on for just a second to kind of break the news that Casey has now gone 3 rounds with cancer, and her score is Casey 3, cancer 0. So, that was man, that kind of set the tone for the night. I mean, there you go. Yeah. I mean, we were going to have a good show after that, no matter what. So that kind of gets us going there. And then Mama Linda comes in and she's directing this for you, Dylan, for what you were talking about earlier.
I appreciate Mama Linda.
Just, some prayers going up. And then we jump down here to our boy Loki, and talking about that background. All right. So I'm the one that uploaded the crazy background. I was trying for something a little less tacky, and I never could make it work. So I finally just decided to say the heck with it. And I was like, just give me all the tackiness, make it as loud as we can make it.
Ugly Christmas sweater vibes here.
Yes. Well, between that and my jacket, and then
MC, you didn't tell me I have an ugly Christmas sweater.
I've got all the vibes going tonight, man. There's what's on my mug that I've been drinking my Mountain Dew out of. So yeah, man, we're just all up in the Christmas spirit tonight. And then Loki comes back later. We were talking about Diego Padrea, I think is his name, the quarterback at Pavia. Thank you. And he says, imagine actually wanting to play another year for Vandy. Yeah, that's not something that anybody had on their bingo card.
Vandy's got some sneaky money over there. Also,
they do.
Hold the phones. They've gotten not one, but 2 former 5-stars transferred to their team.
I saw that. They've pulled 2 5-stars out of the portal. How did nobody that was doing a coaching search not come after Clark Lee?
They're going to now.
Yeah, because if you can win at Vandy, you can literally win anywhere.
Which they're going to keep Clark Lee. That's his alma mater. He's not leaving.
He's home.
Soon.
He's home. It would take stupid money to get him out of there, and I'm not even sure he would leave for that. Then. Come down here. Jesse's in the house tonight. What's up, Jesse? MC is in Godzilla mode. That's one way to put it. I will definitely take that ball and run with it. And then we come back, jump down here to Loki in talks of the basketball team. This team looks so much better and more fluid than the team last year. To me, that says a lot about both Cal and Muss.
Hey,
well, you're seeing the difference in a coach.
We're talking about this.
You're seeing a coach that wants to be here versus one that had one foot out the door and kind of threw in the towel. And I hate to say that because I really liked Muss, but let's all face the facts here, man. When things started kind of going downhill after that Duke game, you could see he had just kind of thrown in the towel and was ready to be moving on.
MC, I'm sorry. I got to share the screen again.
Okay, bring it.
I just have to ask you how you feel about this.
Okay. Oof. 36 points in a 40-minute game. Yeah. And I mean, here's the other thing about it, man.
They made their free throws.
Well, I mean, I don't want to laugh too hard, but I'm kind of laughing because you see some of these guys on this USC roster.
This guy right here, Isaiah,
was supposed to be here. Yeah.
He was a 5-star, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's right.
He was a highly touted player coming out. Mm-hmm.
And finding out that life on the beach is not exactly a beach. So
it can be though.
Enjoy your 2,500 and 2,750 crowds out while you're.
I'm not trying to be like Kentucky fans, but.
But there's a little. You gotta have a little bit,
It's not like, he brought us a national championship and then was like, "Hey guys, I love my time here, but I'm gonna go."
And I think, had he left after that second Elite Eight run, had he taken a job after that, I think a lot of people would have been like, "Hey man, thank you for everything you did. Best of luck." But with the way it kind of went sour a little bit at the end, I think that turned some of the fan base, most of the fan base, I should say, against him. We appreciate what he did, but the way he left it, it's almost like it kind of wiped out some of the positive.
There's a man on Twitter. My tweets are still up. Mr. Ribman. He, let's just say I definitely use some colorful language when addressing him, and I'm not apologizing because I still think he was stupid when he said it. Looking back on it, if I would have seen, say, Will Wade at LSU rip his shirt off and start waving it around,
I mean,
it would have been cringy, dude.
Yes, hindsight, it's very cringy. At the time, I'll admit it, man. I was eating that crap up. I was eating it up at the time.
We were a starved fan base. We haven't had basketball success at that that level.
At that level, yes.
Since Nolan Richardson.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about some of the victories he had. You know, he beat a Gonzaga. He beat a defending national champion Kansas. You had some good wins in the Maui tournament. You had some good wins at home. You beat Alabama at home. You beat Kentucky a couple times. I mean, we were all in, man. But looking back at it now, it's a little cringy.
I remember when Twitter Spaces was a big thing that year.
Yeah.
I told a couple of guys in Twitter Spaces, I said, this team looks like they would beat Gonzaga. We played Gonzaga later that year. I think Zach was in that Twitter Space. Played Gonzaga later that year and absolutely mollywopped them.
Yeah.
But that's enough patting myself on my back. But
I mean, hey. Put the one up. So
yes, sir.
All right, couple more comments here, and then we'll put a wrap on Hawg Tuah. Jesse's got another good one here. Dear Santa, please deliver a new AD and new neighbors for Hog fans everywhere. Oh Lord, neighbors. Woo. We didn't even talk. We got to get Savage back in here when she gets back off of her tropical island tour that she's on right now. Because I got to hear what she's got to say about the neighborhood right now.
I mean, we can all tell you. Dylan, shut up. That one. All right, I'm just going to move on because
yeah.
I was about to say something that Little Rock people probably wouldn't be too proud of.
Yeah. But I'm kind of with Jesse on the new AD and new neighbors. I would trade new neighbors for a new pit boss myself, but that's just me. But I'm
50-50 on AD. I don't think Yurchek is that bad. I think possibly the situation with communicating with fans what the issue has been. And I'm not saying that we deserve to know, but the one way to calm a fire is not acting like there's not a fire.
Yeah, you can't ignore it and expect it to go away.
If they would have came out and said, "Hey, man, some stuff's going on. We're trying to get it done to the best of our abilities," I mean, that would have been one thing. Pitt's press conference after the fact, it helped a little bit. He said it helped. It didn't help to the fact that we wanted it to. Also, I don't know if y'all have seen a trend or not in this transfer portal. Whenever a player visits your school and is on Twitter visiting your school, it's a very high likelihood that person's coming to your school.
Yeah.
We saw Jalen Braxton. Yeah. Speaking of which, I had to pull this up. D-Mac got jokes. I don't remember exactly.
It was something in regards to that team at Oxford.
I got another one regarding them, by the way. So, Greg Sankey, God bless his soul, right before the Arkansas game, said, "Hey, no more faking injuries."
Yeah.
Well, that didn't make it to Patrick Kuditz and
Braxton.
Braxton. They went to the team that does it the most.
Yeah.
All right. And on that note.
Yeah, we'll move on. So Loki had one that come in here that I wanted to see. Oh, and you were talking about Hunter Yurchek, and you're like, we're fans. We don't necessarily have to know. I agree with Loki here. If he wants our money as bad as he does, we absolutely deserve to know.
That is very true. And there's one thing I wish he would have changed by that. If everybody donates $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
You have to know that you're not in Houston. And I'm not throwing shade at Houston. Houston is obviously I think there's more people in Houston than there is in Arkansas.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah.
It's pretty close. There's more ability to get that money in Houston than there is in Arkansas.
1,000%. Yes.
I think Arkansas holds about $3.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 500,000 of that could probably donate $1,000 per month.
Probably.
If you would have turned it around and said, okay, I think it was 10,000 families donate $1,000 a month. Okay, that just turns me off because I'm like, hey, I couldn't do $1,000 a month, but you know what I could do? I could probably do $25 a week.
Yeah.
That's $100 a month right there. But
right.
Boom. And if you're talking to more like this is a red collar, but I am a blue collar worker. if you talk to blue collar workers about like spending their money, like I mean, I don't have a kid. I have dogs, but they don't cost me anything except for dog food and emotional instability at times. But like if you were to talk to a lot of blue collar or Arkansans about how much money they, at the very most they could give, is probably around $100.
Yeah,
without affecting their day to day life. I mean, that's all it came down to was saying, "Hey, can you do $25 a week?" That's a Netflix subscription,
right?
And it from a marketing master that he was, $1,000 a month was stupid. It was dumb.
It's a little steep for.
You could have said 100,000 families donating $100 a week or $100 a month. It'd been a lot easier.
Yeah,
I don't know I personally don't know anybody that could donate $100 or $1,000 a month.
Well, and especially if some of those families that he's targeting are already contributing to the Razorback Foundation, and they
$250 a week.
Yeah, I mean that's what do you want us to do here? Do you want us to buy tickets and contribute to the Razorback Foundation, or do you
want us to buy concessions?
Yeah, do you want us to contribute to NIL? Because chances are most of the people in the state, you're not going to get both. You're going to get Razorback Foundation and tickets, or you're going to get NIL. So there, I'll get off my soapbox, and we'll end this Hawg Tuah segment on a comical comment from our boy Loki that we refer to as the wise man. And this is in regards to the origins of Hawg Tuah. And he's like, wait, the girl who got famous for a comment about redacted to a dude's redacted had loose morals? Preposterous. Preposterous indeed. And now she's slipped off, she's out there with Jimmy Hoffa in the Bermuda Triangle. Her and Jimmy Hoffa and Elvis are sharing margaritas right now. So we may not see any more of her.
Oh no, I wouldn't expect anything like that. Now Loki, are you referring to a certain Hog Heaven store?
Yeah, we'll leave that one alone too.
We don't dumpster fire too.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin the Christmas spirit for anybody. So
speaking of giving, I never got the stuff I paid for.
Yeah. Yes, I can relate. But anyway, here's Wonderwall. All right, so we're gonna put a wrap on this before Dylan and I get way too far out in the weeds and can't be pulled back in. So, hey, Dylan, I probably won't talk to you. If I don't talk to you again before Christmas, man, I hope you and your family have a great one. Enjoy the time off, enjoy the time with family and the holiday, and then get ready for some SEC hoops, man.
Oh yeah, man, it's about that time, man.
It's
about that time.
It is. I'm looking forward to it.
So the last SEC game I went to in person in Bud Walton Arena, actually the last game I went to in Bud Walton Arena, is the game that JD Notte dropped 40 against one Kentucky.
Nice.
So
nice. That's a good one.
I need to go up there and pay my respects to the Mecca.
Yeah, sprinkle some of that little magic dust on the floor, and put some good juju in the air. So
that's right.
All right. We appreciate everybody coming on board tonight, being a part of Hawg Tuah, being a part of the show. Hey, thank y'all so much for this past year. I mean, you fans have made this quite the ride. It's up and down, it's inside out, it's good and bad, but we can always rely on our comments, our Hawg Tuah participants, and everybody just to keep our social media pages going the way they do. We appreciate it. Everybody inside our team, I'm not going to try to name everybody because I'll forget somebody, but the entire team from Zach all the way through the rest of the team, I appreciate everything you guys have done, and Lady and Savage. I don't want to leave her out.
Forget her.
Yeah, absolutely. But everybody's played a role. We are the definition of a team, and we know everybody knows what their role is. And y'all stick around because we got some big things coming down the pike for 2025.
I want to piggyback on that just real quick.
Go for it.
Last year, at the start of these, what we'll call it the academic year, we took a chance on ourselves.
We did.
Yep. did we do it the right way is arguable. But, after we decided to kind of just do it ourselves and leave the other people behind, we've seen a lot of actual growth with just us as a team and us as a show. And for everybody that has stuck around between the different iterations of Inside the Hawg Pen, we really do appreciate y'all, because we really do have some, MC, is there some magic up that sleeve? There's something up there. I know there is, but we got something, guys. And we just want to let y'all know that what we're about to do is nothing that could have been done without y'all.
Yep.
The fact that y'all let us do this, because that's what it is. Y'all let us do this.
Yeah.
If it was just me and MC talking to each other via FaceTime, I mean, we wouldn't have anything we could do in the future. But we really do appreciate it. And, Loki, I'm not addressing that comment. MC, I'm gonna let you take us home.
No, I'm not gonna address that one either. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna bring this back around and just say it's been a lot of fun, and the fun's just getting started, because as Zach has been teasing for a couple weeks, the new era of Inside the Hawg Pen hits in early 2025. We got one more show for 2024, and then we're gonna put a bow on it. And then we're going to close that chapter. And then there is a whole new chapter that's going to be awesome in regards to Inside the Hawg Pen. We're not going anywhere. We're still going to be here, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So y'all just buckle up and hang on. For our boy D-Mad, for Loki the Wise Man, and everybody else that has commented tonight, I'm your boy MC. Everybody have a very Merry Christmas. December 30th, we'll see you after the Liberty Bowl right back here inside the Hawg Pen. Until then, so long, everybody.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. Listen anytime on your favorite podcast provider, and be sure to follow us on all our social network channels.